I am Professor Marini Smith. I am one of the full-time child development faculty here. I think everybody in here knows who I am except for maybe a couple of people. But I am really, really excited that we have our first installment of The Power of Play, the impact of play and creativity on education speaker series. That's a mouthful, but I'm really glad to have folks here because we have an exciting first guest here. This is Zip Zap Zop Education.
Enrichment.
Enrichment. Zip
Yeah.
Zap Zop Enrichment. And
Thanks.
I think I was just inspired as a child development instructor. We talk a lot about play and all the benefits of play. And being part of the Creativity Professional Development Hub here on campus, we also sadly understand that as we become adults, our level of creativity and play decreases a lot, right? Because we're busy, we have a lot of other commitments, and most of our careers do not lend themselves to play and creativity. But there's a lot of research that shows just how valuable play and creativity are in our everyday lives, and for our young children, it's really powerful for their development. So I wanted to create this series in order for us to kind of reiterate all of the benefits that play has in our lives and just kind of remind us all that we need to play more, we need to exercise our creative muscle more, and all of the different benefits that come with that. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Maya and Maya. Yes, Maya Squared from Zip Zap Zop Enrichment. I wanted to say entertainment, I'm sorry.
We will do some of that too.
Yes, okay.
So it'll be great. Hi,
Thank
you
you.
guys. Thank you so much for doing this. I agree. The power of play is extremely important. I founded Zip Zap Zop Enrichment about, like 7 years ago. It started to grow. I did child development as well and was an ABA therapist, and my brother has autism, and I realized taking improv classes at the Second City, where Maya also studied, was a great way to apply what these children with autism were learning in therapy, because they were learning social skills but in a very robotic way. And improv was this perfect tool to put on a hands-on approach of applying those social skills in a fun, imaginative way without any props or things. Improv basically is theater without props is one term you can define improv as. You want to introduce yourself a little as well? I'm Maya Watkins.
Hi, I'm Maya Gwynn. I am an actor at Second City, where I perform, and I've been working for Zip Zap Zop for 2.5 years. And I work with kids in preschool and kids in elementary school. And in the past, I've also worked with kids in junior high and high school. And improv is just such a fun way to get kids out of their shell, especially like you're saying, like when they're young. And like my favorite grade to teach is preschool, because they don't have like that, oh, I'm so embarrassed yet. But when they get to middle school and high school, it's like too cool for school. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But it's fun to see their friends get into it, and then they're like, oh, I guess I'll do something. And you're there, like, I always tell them, like, growing up as a teenager, I took myself so seriously, and even still do it today. But like, it would have been so nice to have improv to like get out of your shell, and it's also a good, different way to learn stuff too. Not everyone learns the same way. A lot of
Like quote on the wall.
Yeah, that's what I was like, wow, I wish someone would have told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And exactly,
Yeah,
and it's
fun.
really interesting because I started taking improv back when I was younger, because I was very interested in doing it myself, but it so quickly became such a powerful tool for working with children. So then I started going into more work with preschool as a preschool teacher for years, and long story short, this organization has been growing in fields of special education, going into preschool settings, teaching social skills. I work with Larchmont Charter, New Heights Charter, Citizens of the World Charter, quite a few preschools in LA, and also an adult living facility for people with autism in Sacramento, because they realized these improv techniques of going with the flow, perspective taking, empathy, controlling your emotions, they could all be learned in these games that we're going to play in a little bit. So the reason I got to meet Dr. Smith was through this other professor, Tia Marie Harrison. She works faculty here now and also Santa Monica College. And she works with these two boys who are both homeschooled and both on the spectrum, and she would bring me in once a week to do this improv work with them. And she saw huge strides going forward with their social skills. So we actually wrote a book, and it's being edited right now, and I'm really excited to share it. It'll be out soon. It's called The Brain's Playground, because we basically decided that improv is kind of like a playground for the brain. The way we do physical development on the playground, we can do our brain development socially with improv games. I want to show you 2 little videos, and then honestly, we're just going to play games, and I'm going to tell you personal stories of how I've seen this work with children on learning anger management or learning literal versus figurative speech and whatnot. But don't be scared. It's not like an acting force class. It's very much taking what you already have in you and applying it in a fun way. So I'm going to click the videos.
Zip Zap Zop allows kids to explore and think out of the box while playing, performing, and using their imaginations. Our class introduces new games and activities to get children talking, building confidence, enhancing friendships, and of course, laughing. Each class has an individualized curriculum, allowing children to collaborate and be a team. The biggest concept when teaching improv is learning how to yes and, which means you listen to your peers and what they're giving you in a game, scene, or exercise, and you add on to what they're saying to create something new together. We teach all children in every developmental stage.
Low, low, high.
You can use specific improv games to help these kids reach goals for the year. It's not an acting class, it's actually to help these children become the best versions of themselves and reach their potential.
The first day he was here, he was a little apprehensive, and then ever since then, he's just loved it. You get this really bright, engagement from him that you don't get with anything else.
Improv is just this fun, inclusive way that adds to what they're learning in these therapies and adds to what they're learning in school. In a simple way, it's just making your friends laugh can be a huge benefit.
Awesome. And after we play some of these games, I will quickly just skim through this PowerPoint, mainly to give you a little link that's like a teaser to the book, and it has games and activities in the link I'm going to give you as a shared Google Doc that you can all look at whenever you'd like. And it's just has adaptations for children who are nonverbal, children who need physical adaptations. So the goal of these games is to work with teachers and therapists and schools on how to integrate these games into everyday curriculum to add to the social and emotional learning aspect. Because the book is actually called The Brain's Playground, How to Use Improv to Teach Social and Emotional Learning. Because we just truly believe that mindfulness and play and engagement and eye contact and connecting with one another is kind of going to save us, right? There's like all this loneliness going on in schools and bullying and terrible gun violence and just feeling really secluded. And it's if we value social and emotional learning the same way we value math and science and other academics, we can make big differences. And I'm very passionate and I nerd out with the fact that I feel like these games are almost like an equation, like a math equation, but to learn social skills. Like it's just as important. So we are going to make a circle. Around this table would be great if possible. I know you guys please don't feel like even kind of intimidated because I'm not going to force anyone to do anything they don't want to do, but we're going to have just some fun. So whenever you're ready, just circle around this table. I think we have plenty of space. Or you know what, if we have stuff on this table, maybe this might be better. Is that okay if we move actually all over to this table? Because then we don't have to worry about, you know, if you need to put something down or anything. Yeah, that'd be great. Let's go around this table right here. Awesome. So the first game, and everyone's joining, I'll teach the rules, but it's actually the name of my company. Zip Zap Zop is the name of the game. And I think I jumped right into this. My whole plan was to get everyone's name first, and I totally didn't do that. But anyways, can we really quickly go around and get names?
Rebecca.
Rebecca. And even though I know you're filming,
Scott.
tell everyone your name. Scott. And what's your name?
Andriana.
Andriana.
Alex.
Alex. Jasmine. Dulce.
Nadia.
Nadia.
Tracy.
Tracy.
Ferrari.
Ferrari.
Renee.
Renee.
Marini.
Marini.
Maya.
Maya. And Maya. So this game is all about eye contact. So I'm going to look at someone and say zip. And you can kind of like either make eye contact just by doing that. You can do one of these. You can do one of these. Anything that works. And then you're going to pick someone in the circle to say zap to. And then that person's going to pick someone to say zap to. And we're going to try to get in a rhythm. Zip, zap, zap. So it's about eye contact and engagement. So zip.
Zap.
Zip.
Zap.
Zap.
Zip.
Zap.
Zop.
Zip.
Zop. Zap.
Great. Go on with the flow. Perfect.
Zop.
Zip.
And you, yeah, go ahead. Choose the person. Perfect. Zap. And now zop someone.
Zop.
Zip.
Zap.
Zop. And now we'll spice it up. And if Maya wants to, because she just got the last zop, she can change it to like mip, or she can change it to pip, or zip, or whip, or nip, anything. So you can start it off with a whole new letter, or you can stick with zip, either way.
Flip.
Now you'd go flap,
Flap.
bop, or flop. And then if you got the op sound, you could start it all over again. So you gave me a flop. So I'm gonna have you start again, and then you can pick a whole new one. I think you said bop, right? I love you going with the flow. That's the best part of bop. Do you want last one of these?
Flip.
Flap.
Flop.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. That was great. That was great. So that's Zip Zap Zop, and that game it could be used for so many things: collaboration, eye contact, conversation skills. I played it icebreaker. Exactly. Social directions, simple social
Literacy,
cues.
like the consonant digraphs, because you're changing the beginning and
Exactly.
rhyming. You know,
This kind of
literacy
stuff makes me
awareness.
so
Yeah.
excited. Yes, all of those things. And I definitely have played this with preschool age. I am not kidding you right now. I've played this with all ages. This group of preschoolers I'm working with right now, there's like 8 of them. And we are doing Zip Zap Zop, and they got it. They get it. They like it takes time, but like for some reason I've taught this to other teachers, and they're like, I don't know, I get it. I'm a little bit much for my 3, 4, 5-year-olds. And I'm like, listen, give them like a chance. Because I swear they'll ask for it next week, and then they'll ask for it again, and all of a sudden they're asking for it. They're doing it, and they're learning so much while they're doing such a simple game. And they're like such a team, and it's so beautiful. Another game that's similar in the fact that you're kind of just making eye contact and collaborating is share an emotion. So we're going to go down the circle and each pick an emotion, but we're going to go with the flow and empathize, I can't say that word right now, with the emotion I'm about to share. So we'll all do the sad emotion. I'm going to do sad. And you pass sadness, and then you keep passing sadness all the way until it's back to you. Okay. Any way you want. It even could be like... Perfect. See? Doesn't even have to be noisy. Great. And now that's a whole new emotion.
Yay!
Whoopee! However it means to you. Great. Oh, I love you guys playing along. Yay! Woo!
Goes around.
New emotion. Do you have another one on your mind?
Hungry.
Oh, nice.
Oh my gosh.
Strong blank. Goes to you.
Awesome.
Oh.
Hungry.
Oh, back to me.
So
So,
back to you. And now you can choose a whole other emotion.
Good.
Very nice. So surprised.
Good.
And now one other one.
Let's say nervous. Good.
Awesome. I love the different interpretations. That looks nervous. Awesome. And you can go ahead and this is a great way to even just have the conversation of emotion. Yes, get your emotions out, sharing and empathizing with another friend, but then letting it go. That's a big thing we learn in this game, as well as another game that Maya and I might show you, Emotion Car, in a little bit.
Yeah.
Just that idea of sharing with someone and then moving forward, because I've seen both. I've seen children really need to learn how to share an emotion with a friend, and I've also seen children really need to know, okay, we need to move forward now. They're okay now. You need to be okay now.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I work with middle schoolers, so whatever.
Oh my goodness, again. How kids are. Boring. Kidding, yeah. That's it.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Look at that sass. Oh, wow, look at that sass. Whatever.
Whatever.
Humpty. Oh, my turn. You can be aggressive.
Anything you want to share. Even aggressive. I usually teach bubble space, but you know what? You guys are dead.
Yeah, not for kids, right?
I'm feeling that emotion.
Oh, I oughta.
I miss it. Okay, your turn.
Just like pensive.
I like that. And you learn with teaching children with autism, especially this, like exactly what you're doing. This kind of over-exaggeration is great because it's really helping it going back to that equation of social skills. It's like, oh, okay, this person's thoughtful right now. This person's thinking, just like you guys. Yeah.
Back.
Awesome.
I don't know. Okay.
How maybe like 4? You're doing it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh.
Perfect. Sleepy? Okay.
Yeah, they will go through, yeah.
Awesome.
Your turn.
Your turn. Anxiety? Ooh, how would you show that? Oh, looking down.
Good.
Okay. Go for it.
So many documents, I know.
Now, what about yours? Last one.
Scared.
Oh my god.
Awesome. I want to piggyback off that game and kind of show one other emotion-related game that's helping with regulation emotions and also understanding. And then we'll move on to some impulse control, and then we'll get to sit soon. I promise I'm not going to have you stand the whole time. This is a game, even though there's a table, I'm still going to do Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, but I'm going to be the only one that does the middle part of it.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go up to someone. This is very intimidating. Okay. But I'm going to say Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop to you, and you're going to try to say bop before I say bop. Or if I just say bop to you, you say nothing. So if I go Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, perfect. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, bop. Awesome. So see that impulse of like, oh, wait, bop. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, bop, bop. Ah! Impulse. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, bop. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, bop. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop. And you be in the middle. But don't worry, I'm not making you be in the middle today. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, bop. I think I would have counted it. You started. You were good. You're good. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop, bop, bop. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop. Oh, you're in the middle. Oh, that focus.
Yeah.
Bop. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop. Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop. Bop.
Feels so loud.
Bibbidi bibbidi bop. Awesome! You guys did it. So I did this earlier on another event, and they were like, well, what about if that's like too much of a tongue twister? So I thought to myself, and she actually got me thinking, that impulse control, there's other games that do the same thing. So there's the game Zap, right, you and I. So let me think if there's any other standing games. Go ahead and find a seat, but maybe let's all stay within like 2 tables next to each other in case we have more games. Let's see, would you mind telling me just a funny word, any appropriate word in the world?
Gobstopper.
Gobstopper. Okay, great. Maya and I are going to go back to back. Can you actually say gobstopper, but not right away? First say other words, any kind of word. We're going to take steps forward, every word you say. But when you say gobstopper, we're going to turn around and zap each other. So we're going to be really listening and not be too quick to judge if you're about to say gobstopper. And as you can see, that exchange was really simple, right? But that teaches communication. She's saying to us what the rules are, how she wants them to be, and making it very clear. Because if she's not clear about what word she's going to use, like gobstopper, we won't know when to turn and zap. So it's such a simple little game that it can be applied to play hard, recess, conflict resolution, communication, discussions, all day long. Okay, so we'll go back to back, and you go ahead.
Goldfish, tuna fish, salmon, shark, whale, gobstopper.
Zap! And then we see whoever's first. I think on that one I couldn't tell. Do you think we were even or shaker?
It's pretty even.
Yeah, so sometimes it's even.
I think
Depending on the age and developmental stage, also depending on what they're learning, I might get early intense, like, oh, she won, no problem, let's move forward, because that's really important in life, to not worry about it. And it's so quick that you could do it again and have someone else win or whatever, but it instantly shows you it's not about that. It's about having fun and the game itself. I wanted to show a motion card before, and maybe alligators to zap it. So the game we're about to play is called a motion card, and again, I'm sharing some of these in a link.
Did you want us to do?
Yeah, 2 cheers would be great. So this game, like Maya, for example, would be driving a car, which is also great for imaginative play. And I'll enter the car. Maya will have no emotion. When I enter, I will, either way, I will bring in an emotion, and I'll bring in a reason why I'm feeling it. And then Maya will share that emotion, explain why she's also feeling that for some reason, and then think of a reason she should leave the car that makes sense to what we talked about. So right now you know emotion driving. Pulling over, taking out the door, closing it. I'm so upset right now. I'm so sad because I lost my favorite pair of earrings and I really love them.
I'm really sad because I don't even know where I'm going. I don't even know where I'm driving.
I know, I'm so sad.
I just don't feel good. I've been driving for like 3 days. I haven't slept in 3 days. I'm gonna pull over and go take a nap or something.
Awesome. And then she'd think of a reason to leave the car, which goes back to teaching kids empathy / moving forward. And now I go in with no emotion. And I wanted to add that the games I'm going to share all have in the book that Tia and I wrote, we did a research project the last year, working with these 10 children in inclusive settings. So every game has a story attached to it. Like this one has a story of a little girl who really grasped the concept of sharing an emotion with someone because the person driving said I stubbed my toe. And then she came in and she, like a few people later, she came in with a different emotion about being really sad. And they're like, why are you so sad? She's like, because earlier Ben stubbed his toe. And it was like, it was just her way of dealing with what she just saw. And it was all pretend, but so real at the same time. She had autism, the diagnosis, but it was an inclusive class. Okay, so now I have no emotion again.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. I'm so ready to go to the circus. I am performing and I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. I'm not going to the circus. I'm just really excited because it's Friday. I am so excited right now.
Friday is the best day.
Yeah, it's the best day. I'm going to pull over so I can go get some snacks and just watch movies on Netflix. Okay. See you later. I leave the car and she'd have no emotion. And yeah, you just can keep going. This game can easily be played with preschool all the way up. I keep bringing up preschool just because Actually, a lot of people in this community, middle school, you said, totally can play with middle school. You can advance it where it's not just an emotion. It could go beyond just an emotion. It could be a whole character. Like maybe your name is Sam and you're a doctor and you're late and like you're feeling all these anxieties and you can add that character element.
Even the cards like Black Panther or something.
Yeah.
Super, like,
Come in as Superman.
Yeah.
We've done that. But do a lot of people also work in the preschool years as well, or is this kind of a range of different classes?
Yeah, I think early childhood, but we're trying to emphasize K-12. We want to grow the program.
Got it.
But, yeah, early
Good to know,
childhood,
yeah. Most of my classes are pre-K to 5th mainly, but again, I work with young adults as well. This next game, I had a young boy who his social skill that he was trying to grasp had to do with ending a conversation. So like, he was 4th grade last year, now he's 5th. He would be talking and talking, kind of like I'm doing now, and not really notice, like, okay, I gotta go, like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And he's just really struggled with it. So we played a game called Alligators to Zappigators, which is on the doc I'll share. And it's where we do a scene. So Maya and I are gonna do a scene. She's gonna start the scene with a sentence that starts with A. I'm gonna start the scene with B, C, D, all the way to whenever I feel like we can explain the concept of this game. But you can do this with earlier years as well. Make it not just full sentences. Try to explore just words and keep going back and forth. But in our case, this will be good for K to 5th for sure. What area, what location can you give me? Just raise your hand and give me a location, a place, any place in the world. Yes.
The beach?
The beach. Great.
Nice.
So you go ahead. Start it off.
A man just told me that it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Because it is my birthday.
Because you have the best birthday ever.
D. Don't I? I know. It's on Halloween. It's so cool.
Everyone loves your birthday.
F. For real? G.
Girl, yes.
H. Halloween kind of isn't the best birthday because I'd rather just celebrate Halloween and not my birthday.
I love your birthday. I think you should celebrate it every day if you could.
J. Justine, I really think you need to calm down. You're a little too excited. Let's just enjoy the beach.
Kylie, I really think that you need to enjoy yourself. You are turning a great age, and who knows how long we'll even be here.
And then this turns into a whole therapy session about me, myself, turning 31 2 weeks ago, and just like really upset about it.
I wasn't even going there.
I'm just kidding.
I
know. A lot of times I put the letters of the alphabet next so they can see, because I was honestly forgetting because I have so much on my mind. I'm like, is it L? Yeah, it's L. Yeah. But that game is really great. So the little guy played it with me, and then once he got to like W towards Z, I was like, okay, we're getting to W now. Like, let's end the conversation. So he wrapped up the scene, like something like, in this case, it'd be like, oh, let's go get our beach bags. Let's get going. And it was his way of seeing how that's the end of the conversation. So a teacher overheard us doing that together, and then a couple weeks later said to me that he was rambling. He was doing one of his moments, and she said, remember a couple weeks ago with Maya, you were doing that game, like right now, it's like you're getting to the W of the scene. And so he was like, oh, okay. So he kind of wrapped up his conversation. But you could do it with a fun language that connects to a related experience. So it was really cool. I really liked that.
So with this, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So with the scene that you're coming up with, that kind of just sets the context for the conversation, but the conversation doesn't necessarily have to be related to the location, like the beach.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, with preschool age, it might be fun to kind of keep it simple, or even just try to think of words, the things you see at the beach, or things you see. And you could go just to M or L in our case.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite make it to Z.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That story though, it's getting me so excited to work more with schools and teachers and education, because it's creating a language. And I feel like with social emotional learning, mixed with taking ourselves so seriously, there is this way we can relate to one another and like build a rapport. Tia, the boy she worked with, the reason she kept bringing me on, I still work with these two boys that she's a behaviorist for, is because she felt like she was losing some of that relationship with them because they're growing older. She could just feel there's like almost tension. And playing these games really took a weight off. And I feel like with middle school, it's the same thing. It's kind of like you know what? We're still connected. Remember that time we played this game and totally made each other laugh? Like, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
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 With second year, because I've worked in middle school and high school, the novelty is really engaging and it's really motivating.
Yes.
So even though we might say, oh no, they're not going to like it, they're going to deem it too babyish, it's really engaging for them because it's novel and it's something fun and it's not just drill and kill math or whatever you're teaching. It's light, like I said, it takes the weight off and it's novelty. The novelty is really cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even that bippity bippity bop game, like going back to middle school, if there's a kid who doesn't want to play, they're going to say bop because they're not going to want to go in the middle of the circle.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, and like I was, how I actually met I was at an after school program at middle school, and they're always like, "What do you do? Like, what do you do when you're not here?" And I was like, "I do improv." I'm like, "What's that?" So I started like an improv club, and it was so cool because it was only 7th and 8th grade, but it was like different people from like the jocks, then the people who liked computers, and like the girls who were just about makeup, all in a class trying to make each other laugh. And you saw that they were like connected in kind of like a breakfast club kind of way that like that they felt like, and especially like at that age where like they're so like want to be adults that like they're doing something and they're taking like ownership of like stuff that they're saying. So like it gives them a kind of confidence. Like I had so many of them be like, oh yeah, like I feel like I can like go up to someone at a dance and like talk to them, or I feel like I could give a book report now and not like be super scared in front of my whole class because like I've made people laugh in front of a whole class. So
Kind of brings me back to working on the research project. There's 2 games we're about to play, and they're both games I played with this specific intention of teaching literal versus figurative speech, because there was one child who took things very seriously, and another child was pretending to hurt or going to act like he was hurting a bird. He was like, just like roughhousing. He's 7. He's just like, I'm going to go stomp on this bird over here. And the little boy that took things very literally got so upset because he was on the spectrum. He took it very literal. He's like, this guy is about to go hurt a bird. Oh, my God. And he attacked him and, like, punched him and pulled his lip out. And, like, it was terrible. And I had to, like, stop that, calm down, conflict resolution. And in the back of my head, I'm like, when they're in a calmer place, I want to play games to teach literal versus figurative. Because I know that that's where this kid was coming from. He was like, he's about to hurt a bird for real. And we need to stop this. So we played 2 games. And one of them, we'll play the one that his response, this little boy was like, I don't like this. I don't know about this. So like, he was so skeptical. But he played it, and he likes it now. Because it's all about just kidding. And it's where I give a gift. So I'll give you a gift.
Okay.
The gift could be really great, or it's called gift exchange. Or it could be terrible. No matter what I give you, you say thank you with a smile on your face. Like it's the best thing you've ever gotten. And you just nicely tell me what you're going to do with it, even if it's throw it in the trash. So here is a big bowl of really old, 2-year-old spaghetti.
Oh, thank you so much. I am going to feed this to my dog.
Oh, perfect. Great. And now you give a gift, and we'll go down the circle back to me.
Okay.
Anyways, fine.
Okay. Here is $1 billion.
Thank you so much. I need
Great. We'll use it. Now you pass a gift along, a whole new gift.
Here's a puppy.
I'm going to go play with the puppy. Here's a banana. I'm going to eat the banana.
Thank you.
Here's a backpack.
Thank you. I'll use my backpack for school.
Perfect.
Here are some high heels.
Oh, cool. I'll use them when I go dancing. Here is a pound of olives.
Thank you.
You want to throw them away or eat them? Throw them away. Go ahead.
Just give them the olives.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you. I'll read it.
Great. And then can you throw a gift across?
Here is a notebook.
Oh, perfect. That's a whole game in itself.
Here, did you say you're going to do the notebook? Thank you for the notebook.
Perfect.
What
are you going to do?
I'm going to write in it.
Perfect.
Here's a poem.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
I'm gonna share this with my family.
Aw.
Here's some dirty love.
Oh, lovely. I'm gonna roll around in it.
Wanna give me a gift?
Here's a bucket of sandpaper.
Oh, great, thank you. I will use this to redo my kitchen table. Awesome. So that game's so silly. So this little guy, he was just like this. I think he was given eyeballs or something, and he just was like, oh no, this is terrible. Like, what are you doing to my brain right now? But it's kind of again loosening things up. There's times in life where we have to be honest and we have to be serious and we have to be clear, and that's so important. And it's like this little guy just really values that, and then he goes on the play yard and he gets picked on because he's not going with the flow on the yard. He's telling everyone the rules, and it's a really hard balance. But these games are a nice way to teach that balance and to play. Because when we work with kids, we do really need to play because it's how they learn. This other game, same idea, literal versus figurative, is a little harder. It really also, beyond literal versus figurative and sarcasm, gets you to think before you speak. It's called optotone. And it's where Maya's going to use the opposite tone, but with the words she maybe normally would say. So if I said, Maya, I just bought you a house, she would be like, that's so great. So opposite tone with what she probably would say, like, that's so great. Maya, I have really bad news for you. All of your clothes were ruined in the wash. They're all red.
I'm so mad right now.
Perfect. And let's maybe go this way this time.
Okay. Congratulations, you just won a brand new car. Whatever. I'll just use it.
Awesome, that's same rule, but I'll use it. Great.
Yeah, should I pass it to her?
Pass a new news, so something bad or good that happened, imaginary, and you would respond with the opposite tone. So if it was something that would make you excited, you could just respond with, that's great.
Be happy you get an A.
Oh, you got an A. What would you say normally to that? Like, cool? Okay, cool. So you just say it with like no emotion then. Perfect. Can you pass some new news? It could be good or bad. It could even be like, here's a hamburger. I don't know, whatever you want. Let's see. What's today? Today's Tuesday. So you can literally just tell her it's Tuesday.
Was still in the beginning.
Awesome. See, you probably wouldn't really usually cry with that kind of tone, but you did opposite right now. Awesome.
It's raining outside.
It's raining.
Perfect.
I don't like rain.
Then that's perfect. Yeah. I could tell that you were doing the opposite of what you would have normally done.
The police are giving you a ticket.
That's what would I say?
You did it. That's terrible.
That's terrible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's hard. You guys, we just did this with a group of therapists at this place called Engager. Like all of these, like, you know, therapist type of people. They're really like super intense, and they played this game like this is so hard. Like they were having the hardest time. They were freaking out. So go ahead and give some new news.
Awesome bad news. The puppy gave me right away.
Yay.
Say that same voice, but say, oh no.
Oh no.
Very nice. Unless you're happy it ran away.
Did you hear the news? You just won a $25 gift card to Starbucks.
Very nice. Very realistic.
I wanted. Okay, now I have to think about it for a second. So,
Thinking before we speak, don't worry.
Yeah. So I'm happy. Okay. That's great. I won this $20 gift certificate to Starbucks. Whoopee.
Awesome. Very nice. It's hard.
Guess what? All that hard work with your trainer has paid off, and you've lost 20 pounds.
Okay. I'm so happy.
Perfect.
Hey, I think someone keyed your car.
Okay.
Awesome.
You look nice today.
Aw.
Thanks.
Look at that angry face. Awesome. Did everyone take a chance on that one? Yeah? Okay, cool. So yeah, that's definitely a thinking before you react. which brings me into another game. So some of you know each other already? Or are you some new? This game you don't have to know each other. It just sometimes helps because we learn about how everyone has different senses of humor. So that little guy you watched in the video, the second video I showed you, something he learned when we did this game, it's called Stone Face. And it's where one person comes up and they have a stone face like this. Simple. And they can only say the words mumbo jumbo. So different people in the audience would raise their hand and you pick them and they try to make you laugh. So you control your emotions and you just say mumbo jumbo. And you can't smile or anything. And it's about controlling emotions. So you can talk about when else do we control our emotions, not just laughter, but when we're angry, sad, when do we need to articulate how we're feeling. This guy was so frustrated because he kept coming up and trying to make this one girl laugh by going, PBS Kids! And he just kept repeating it. Like PBS Kids! And she was just like, mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo. And then finally I'm like, okay, Isaac, how do you make her laugh? Think about things in the past that have made her laugh in class. And in the past, like, slapstick comedy makes her laugh. Like you know, like, oh, I'm falling. Like, she just thinks it's hilarious. So he thought about it on his own, came up, and then made her laugh by falling on his face saying PBS Kids. And so it was fine, and it totally made her laugh. And he's like, oh, that's her perspective. I get it. So this game can do two things. It can talk about perspective, and it also can talk about controlling emotions. So I was wondering if anyone be brave and be my stone face, and we will try to make you laugh. Yeah? You're awesome. Awesome. You can come. Is it okay if you come up here? Because I would like people to have space to make you laugh if they need it.
Oh, wow.
They need to use the phone.
It also comes out like funny.
Yeah, kids. And then also, if she says anything else, like if you say, what's your favorite color? You have to say, mumbo jumbo. So you can try to trick her and get her to say things, and something that makes her break her stone face. So you relax. Oh, you can do this. Oh, look at that stone face. Let's count 5 to 1 to let her compose herself. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And raise your hand, and you can point to whoever you want to try to make you laugh. Let's count again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can point to anybody. Or put your heads up. Do you want to try to make her laugh?
You look really cute today.
Mumbo jumbo. Mumbo jumbo.
Awesome. You see how she controlled that? She almost laughed. She controlled it. You're so good. You said it. You're fine. You make eye contact with whoever. Okay. I'm really sorry, but look behind you. There's a ghost.
Mumbo jumbo.
Whoa. Look at that. Anyone else want to try? Have a funny story or a joke?
Okay. Have you seen this?
Mumbo jumbo.
Ooh, that was a good one.
I want to use the bathroom. Okay. When's your birthday?
Maya, you got her. All right, she got you because she threw you off, right? It's hard. It's a hard game. Maya, want to take one turn, and then since you got her.
Good job.
Awesome job with your stone face. Yeah, let's do it. I love it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're fired.
You're so fired.
Ooh, that's good. I've never actually played this one with
What are you doing here?
There's something so like just funny and simple about it.
It doesn't mean like I have to go sit there?
Yeah, I'd love you to try.
Yay!
Try?
Oh my
Yes.
It's something simple because I'm trying to, come up with these elaborate things.
Yeah.
And then it's something.
Oh my gosh,
simple.
kids crack me up with this game. They literally just go broccoli, and it's like, ah! That's the funniest thing they've ever heard in their life. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was eating that soup you made, and it just had a foot in it. Very nice.
Have you seen The Lion King?
No.
I
love this whole attitude.
If one of you have said I can.
You can. You could
All
control.
day. Yeah.
Right. You hold it all.
Yes. Like somebody.
You just say mumbo jumbo.
Yes. Mumbo jumbo. Yeah.
Let's do 2 more.
Assalamualaikum.
Mumbo jumbo.
The control.
The Stinky Socks.
Awesome. Let's hear round of applause. Does anyone want to try that one out? Yeah. I want you to try just one time, even if you laugh.
But everything makes me laugh.
I know, that's why I want you to try it.
I thought you could poker face. Come on, poker face. Poker face, go.
Because I always tell them they're the laughing champion if they laugh, or they're the stone face champion if they don't laugh. Because either way you win, right? But it's just that process of control.
I know.
Awesome. 3.
Put your teacher hat on.
Yeah, put that teacher hat on. 2, 1. Who wants to try first?
You're in the wrong place, girl.
You did it! Sorry. Oh my gosh, you broke her. Awesome. Thank you for trying. That was perfect. Okay, cool. So I was gonna teach, let's see, I had brains up on there too, right? Back to back. We didn't do staff, but I don't think we need to. I'm gonna teach this one other game that's about, if you just feel like, this could work with adults too, like if you're just not on the same page, like I should do this with my husband, like right now. If you're like not on the same page, you can play this game called Brain Zap. And it's a little trickier, but I actually have played it with preschool. It's pretty hilarious. And it's about reading each other's minds. And then after we do that, I think I'll go through the PowerPoint a bit and then just answer questions. I can teach more games maybe through questions you may have on a game. Like, oh, do you have a game that would work with this specific child or this specific situation? And then I can be like, yes, that day that this happens, maybe play this game to help explain why that happened or something. So want to come up and do Brain Zap with me? Yeah. So we are going to say, let's see, can you say for me, Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3? Sure. And when you say 3, we're going to say the first word that pops in our minds. We'll start like that. Okay.
Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3.
Shirt.
Chocolate.
Shirt and chocolate. So now we can't repeat shirt or chocolate, but we're going to think, what could connect those 2 words that she would think about, maybe I would think about too. So do it again, the Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3.
Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3.
Willy Wonka.
And keep going.
Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3.
Book.
Factory.
Okay.
Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3.
James and the Giant Peach. Oh, wait, okay.
Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3.
Roll doll.
Wow.
Roll doll. At the same time. So you saw that our brain kind of got on the same page. Instead of making you come up here and try it, can you guys get into groups of 3 and give each other chances to try it? I noticed I did this in the last session. I've never done it before where I give groups, but I realized people did it more because coming up here is kind of a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So if you, maybe you 3, you 3, and then maybe you want to be, actually let's do 4, because we're all here. So you guys, and then maybe you want to go with that group.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
To be first.
I was thinking like Caillou or something.
Yeah.
Brain Zap,
1, 2, 3.
That's pretty close.
Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3. Sesame Street. What did you say? Television and Sesame Street. Okay.
We actually got really close with the
Brain Zap.
Yeah, sometimes I tell people maybe
Big
they
Bird.
Brain Zap the same.
What'd you say?
But it's more that
Children.
process.
No.
Yeah.
Show me time.
Brain Zap,
And I feel like
Connecting
Elmo.
Oh
yeah.
So it's like we were in
Do you guys want to try again?
Cool. Thank you.
Brain Zap, 1, 2, 3.
Purple. Getting there. It's like when your brain is like scattered.
I know.
I'm ranting.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Like how it was for my PDA.
To the book that we're writing.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
sure. So the book coming out is called The Brain's Playground, Using Improv to Teach Social Emotional Learning, and my organization is Zip Zap Zop Enrichment. The history of Zip Zap Zop, I already explained most of this. I just wanted to make sure, so I'm going through here anyway. My brother Zach inspired a lot of what I do. Let's see, we watched that video already. And what does Zip Zap Zop do? We go into schools. We've transformed improv games into connection activities. That's what everything I played today, we call a connection activity, which allows us to work on empathy, perspective taking, tolerance, eye contact, self-regulation, and many other social behaviors for individuals of all abilities, including adaptations for all their needs. That's how I like to explain my improv games. It's not an acting class. It's a version of taking improv and taking the social abilities from improv to make connections with children and adults. Improv is responding in the moment to the stimulus of our immediate environment and inner feelings. That's kind of a way to sum up improv in a nutshell. I connected social emotional learning with improv during our research project, which is now going to be a book. It was a one-year project of 10 children in inclusive settings, every week working on different social goals and writing out stories and games that came about. A lot of what Zip Zap Zop is not just these games that I just taught you, but making up a game in the moment from a skill that's needed to be reached. So I one time was with kids and like I could tell their bodies were just loosey-goosey. So instantly I just made up a game about being frozen statues and describing our picture in the moment and what is that person doing and going with the flow, because if someone said, oh, Maya her hands are up because she's on a roller coaster. But in my head, I froze my hands up thinking, oh, maybe I look like I'm scared of a ghost. I can't say, no, I'm not on a roller coaster, I'm scared of a ghost. I have to just be frozen. Perception. So it's exactly perception, and it's all about making up those games on the fly. It doesn't have to be these pre-written ones. You can also Google improv games online, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and you can just take ones that you like. So you definitely don't need to like know this book or buy. I want you to buy the book. I want you to buy the book, but you don't need it. That's the social emotional learning, self-awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision-making, self-management, and self-awareness that we work on. This is explaining the research project, which is kind of in that teaser I gave you. As you can see, I'm not a big PowerPoint person, but it helps me make sure I got everything across. The method that was discovered in the research project. This method is the Building Connections method, and it's using improv games to teach social emotional learning. Combining social emotional learning with an improv game creates a connection activity. When a support provider, like a teacher, therapist, recognizes a social need being expressed, like that little boy needing to understand literal versus figurative, by an individual they work with, they can become or work with another connection facilitator, meaning people like me could come in and teach these games with teachers, or I can teach teachers to do these games and become this connection facilitator. A connection facilitator uses connection activities to build social skills. A dream of Tia Marie's and mine is, and it's kind of our next step we're doing right now, is creating a course. And we'd love to one day have this course be in all schools, professional development, where we're line work with West LA College. I know Dolores really well as well. I've known her before I've known Tia. Her good friend Oscar is the board president of my organization. And I've known Dolores since way before I knew Tia, so it's this kind of funny circle. She's really badass. She's cool. Yeah, she's an awesome lady. And then the 3 core qualities of an improviser's mindset: flexible, receptivity, and adaptation. That's the games. We already did the games. These are the games with more stories, which I have so many. Email me anytime. And then last but not least, this is the link. If you type this in, bit.ly/brainsplayground, you can get, there's 8 games I shared in there, as well as some assessments. Oh, that's the other thing. Our book includes assessments on how to assess the social growth using the games. And they'll be in the book, but some examples will be in this link. So this is like a little teaser. So yeah, you can look up that link anytime. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Maya or different situations?
Yes.
One of my questions was like, when we were doing the game, I noticed that when it was directed at me personally, I the question that I got when your birthday was personally directed at me.
Right.
So if the child, if I feel like if a child is asked a question directly, they have more of an engaged feeling and we feel more at ease with this person.
Yeah, you noticed that you felt that kind of
Yeah.
instantly? That's a cool thing for you to share because that makes me almost look at that game in a different way. So interesting. So taking that personal connection and integrating them in the games.
Right.
That's really cool. That kind of makes me go back to my statement about how you don't need to know the games that I have necessarily. You could work off the individual and what they want or need. Or if they're really into Superman, you can make a whole game about Superman.
Right.
That's cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's really neat.
How do you engage students who are shy or who are more reluctant?
Definitely. I think kind of piggybacking on what you just said is kind of understanding maybe where they're coming from, finding out what does loosen them up. Every game kind of resonates with different people. I noticed some of the more reluctant kids playing this one game called Kitty Wants a Corner, where someone's in the middle of a circle, and what we do is we try to get each other's chairs. So it's a lot about loosening up, or bibbidi-bibbidi-bop, like games that almost trick you into playing, and then you loosen up. So I guess my answer to that would be like, just experiment with lots of various games and see what kind of tickles them and makes them just have the buy-in. I talk a lot about the buy-in in the book because it's like, improv sounds kind of weird, like what do you mean, like acting for children with special needs, like what are you saying? And I'm like, no, it's like, feel that feeling, and piggyback off that and bounce off that. So getting them to trust you with the games, it will fall into place. I've never run into a situation yet where I can't at least get a handful of games one kid likes, even if they're more shy.
Yeah, and I'm guessing if you are continuing to work with them and building a repertoire of different ones, then eventually, like you said, building a relationship.
Building a relationship, or what Maya was saying, just that empowerment that comes from getting a positive reaction.
Yes.
Yeah, because then like they can take, like for me, I didn't get like good grades until college, and it wasn't because until I found a way that like learning helped me, or finding confidence in it, so like they can take confidence from this and then take it into the classroom, and like I am like I have confidence in making people laugh or just being silly, and it's not maybe confidence in like we're all go through like our awkward stages, maybe not in like how you look at the time, or maybe not that you're great at soccer, but in the fact that you can make people laugh and like can talk to people. And once they build that confidence, like they'll trust you,
Right.
And they'll trust that you won't put them in a situation that's like not.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
In
like
the
if they're
book-
uncomfortable, they'll
Exactly.
tell you. Yeah.
In the book, we definitely talk a lot about the improviser's mindset when working with individuals, a lot about like building off their strengths and interests, and that kind of leads into the games. And then we have, we back it up with theory, like Lev Vygotsky, John Dewey, Viola Spolin, who created a lot of these games. She's an amazing woman. She created Second City. And we use their theories of just child development and scaffolding. It's all connected to these games. Like they all tie together as human behavior. You build upon interests and needs, and you find that confidence. So in the book, we talk a lot about that, as well as creating. This assessments that we have are all about actually checking off what we do see, when we do see them perspective taking or empathy taking, and we write out like when that happened, and then we use what we do see and build upon that versus, oh, this child is not able to do this. Like it's the opposite of what we're not seeing is what we do see. Not to say that those assessments aren't important too. It's just another way to add to it. Yeah, it's exciting.
Are there any?
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
sure.
go ahead.
What would you say? I mean, I can see all of these being applicable, but do any stand out for you in working with students who maybe feel like just stress or general sort of just feeling overwhelmed with school?
Stress management. I feel like the mumbo jumbo game for sure. And then let me think, different kinds of games that kind of are stress relieving for middle school specific.
Yeah, I work at a very kind of elite private school. Those kids are under like so much pressure.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. then I definitely, it sounds like they do need to kind of like
Uh-huh.
loosen up. So like that Bibbidi Bibbidi Bop game, I definitely would also agree, like kind of makes you kind of get out of your shell. There's this really silly game called Excuse Me, Mr. Judge, or I call it Excuse Me, Zip Zap Soccer. And it's where someone would be sitting and face the other way, their eyes closed. And this is a really fun one for middle school because they get into it. And I would choose people to quietly tiptoe behind and say, excuse me, Zip Zap Supper, and they would disguise their voice somehow. And this person would have to guess who's behind them. And like that game, I've seen even the most rigid friends get like, this is so silly. Like of course that's you, blah, blah, blah. Or like, I do not know who that is.
Right.
That game surprises me because I used to not even value that game. I was like, it's just a quick filler game. But then this one girl who has Down syndrome in one of my classes, she played it, and I had a friend come up, a little girl, she's like, I didn't even know Nicole knew my name. Like, it was like this really interesting engagement that I saw. And probably a million more. If you ever want to email me again, I'm the only one who checks this email that's on here, because I'm sure I'm missing a lot of good ones. Do you think of any more?
Yeah, definitely Pass the Emotion. Like, I think, did we do that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can use the emotion that they feel at the time.
Or
And
emotion
then-
card.
Yeah, emotional car. Or
Yeah.
also there's one called Combined Stories, where like everyone just sits in a story and you're all telling a story together. Like mine would be like, there once was 4 girls who went to the mall, and then I would take the story, and then they went here, and like you can, if you can play it in a big group, or you can play it with like 4 people, which is really fun, and then you give the 4 different people a different emotion. So it's like you're angry, you're happy, you're sad, you're really excited. So when you point to them, they tell the story, but with that specific emotion. So it's fun to people who are really angry. If you give them, you have to say this happy. It's kind of like a fake it till you make it, and like they kind of can't help but smile.
Yeah.
It gets contagious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many. I'm so glad you asked that because it gets your brain thinking, and it's just one of those things where I do really feel like we could probably meet as a group every day for like a year and find new games, create new games, think of new scenarios for kids and adults dealing with all kinds of things.
I have another question, sorry.
Yeah.
So my younger son's nonverbal. What are some strategies that you think for kids who are nonverbal? What are some of the games that you might use?
I feel like that I use a lot with this this one boy at one school. He's in my after school program, so it's an inclusive setting, and then he's also in I do small group with him. So for Mumbo Jumbo, we focus on making him laugh, but even it's an inclusive class. So this one little boy just the other day was like, well, how about for, I keep saying wrong, how about for him? I want to say real names all the time. It's really such a part of my life. Instead of laughing, let's see if whenever we get him to like smile, because like, because he totally understands, he just isn't a big laugher. So we play that. And then the Kitty Wants a Chair, or corner game, is an amazing game for nonverbal because you're in a circle, right? So I go up to a chair within the circle and I say, can I have your chair? Or I could just go up to them and make eye contact and kind of be like, can we have chairs, like switch? And then this person will be like, go ask my neighbor or point. I go over here, can I have your chair? You point. And while I'm turned around, people in chairs make eye contact and try to switch. So the whole game can be played non-verbally, like, and then you guys would switch because you like could create a switch. And then I try to grab your chair before you get to his chair kind of thing. And that game is a great game for a whole class with children who are nonverbal or inclusive. Emotions can be really played with just emotions and just really exploring that. Every game that you'll see on that link has a section, like for alligators and navigators, for example. It has a section for physical, limited speech and language, and nonverbal. So sometimes that means not even playing this game, but it means playing this alternative game. And then it tells you play the alternative game kind of thing. Yeah.
What I really appreciate about a lot of these, do you call them techniques or games or strategies?
We call them connection activities now. Because of Tia and I came up with that over time. So I've been doing this for years, and then she saw me do it, and then she really loved it. And she's the one who's she planted this seed in my head of turning it into a college course, which started everything. Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
What I really
connection
appreciate, what I
activities.
think will bring like validity to creating it as a college course is that, you know, we talk about in child development now this
whole push for social emotional learning. And I don't know if at the
Yes.
middle school where you are, it's kind of like the buzzword in education.
Yeah.
It's like we have to educate the whole child.
Yeah.
So this gets to that, but it also still has the research-based foundation, like the rationales that I
Yes.
think
I
a lot
made
of the
sure
more
to still
traditionalists
have
are
some
going to
theory.
want to know what's the theory behind
Exactly.
it.
Well, I grew up going to school here I went to Santa Monica College
Oh,
to start,
yeah,
and then I
okay.
transferred.
Uh-huh.
So I learned a lot about theory in my child development
You have
classes.
learned Dafna?
I did, yes, she's the
she was
best.
my first child development professor ever. Yeah, she was really good.
I think she might have been my first child development professor ever. Not even kidding. So I feel like Santa Monica College, West LA College, I feel like they value theory and theorists. And it's funny because Tia totally, like, hands-on knows what she's talking about, believe me, but she grew up in the East Coast more, went to school there, and she's like, it's funny because I know all these theorists, but I feel like now hearing what you learned, like at Santa Monica College, and applying it to these games, it's all starting to kind of come full circle. Like, the theory's been backing it up for years.
Right.
It's just we haven't always had the hands-on tools to apply that theory.
Right.
So, like, a huge chapter in our book is just comparing to theory, because I'm like, listen, I think we're not trying to convince anyone. It's already being convinced. It's like we're just giving the tools.
Right.
So I'm so nerded out about that stuff. Because, like, John Dewey, like, you read flexible curriculum, and you read, like, working off the strengths of the child and their social needs. Like, you literally, he's saying all of the things I say already. It's crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any games that we can work on with veterans, like preschool or like children?
Like, not giving up.
Yes, because there are children that don't have those skills.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, to not give up. Games like that Zach game we played and just learning how, like, one time it might not work, another time it will work. Just constant repetition of, like, listen, no big deal, let's keep going. And, like, just making sure you have at least one of those more competitive games tied in, even if it's gently placed.
The gift giving is great with preschool too. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, they love gifts. There's this one little boy that, like, everything you give him, he's like, no. Or he'll be like, give me this. Like, he has to be like, no, like, take what you get. He's like, okay.
It's pretty
Thank you.
funny.
Yeah.
Or even, like, Inside Out, I do this, it's like the movie, you explore the different emotions and talk about things in that emotion, but it's like, I've seen kids just be so upset because maybe their parent isn't coming yet and everyone else is getting picked up, and I'll literally be like, oh, you're so upset right now, okay, how would we talk about this in a happy way? And then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, like, it's just like, we just played this game earlier. It's almost like a weird trigger of, like, sensory relating to a happy time kind of thing. Yeah. Great. This has been awesome. I'm excited for more of these. So they're always on Tuesday though, huh?
No, Tuesdays or Thursdays, I
Okay.
kind of polled the class and asked them what were the
Okay.
days and times, and of course my online students prefer Fridays and Saturdays, but, so I have one presentation on the 26th that will be on a Friday at 2.
Okay.
But the rest of them, okay, yeah.
I actually got a sub for today. I teach at Larch. I'm still the hands-on teacher. Yeah, I'm there Mondays for small groups, and then for small with social skills, IEPs. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I'm there all day in every classroom. And then Fridays, I'm on there at the campus. So they've got, I don't know what happened at the end of last year, but I somehow agreed to do so much teaching at Larchmont this year, which is great. But I'm hoping in a perfect, beautiful world, I can get more beautiful, amazing people like Maya to teach those classes, because I'm pretty passionate about some of this professional development and social, emotional learning of stuff.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Me too.
And I'm so glad that we were able to get you with your busy schedule, that you both were able to come.
Oh, yeah.
Maya
I've got a sub.
Incorporated.
I can always
I
get
swear.
a sub. Yes.